Your mic, hey, top, your mic.
It only happens once a week. Sorry, guys. Anyway, it's Wednesday and it's November 3rd, and thank you for joining us. We have items on the agenda. If there are questions that come up as we work our way through the agenda, please feel free to add them, or you may simply unmute yourself or put stuff in the chat. We're going to start with Noel. He has some family things that are taking up his time, but thank you for joining us, Noel. Please, you have some things to share.
I don't see him.
Well, he has to go first.
He did. Send out the APB.
Okay.
I'll call him right now.
Okay. Lavashay, you've got a couple of things to talk about?
Yeah, thank you, Louise. So we just want to announce that we're having another Ohana food distribution next week, Friday, November 12th, from 12:30 to 2:30. We can have about 250 students or so get some food. And for those of you that have helped with our past distributions, it'll be very similar. We are looking for 30 volunteers at a minimum. The more people we have, the easier and quicker everything takes place. So we would really love if you are able to volunteer. Students can volunteer as well, and they can, if they volunteer for the first shift, they can leave with a bag with the various food items. So it's a great way for them to do some community service and then also pick up items as well. I'm going to put into the chat the link for both the volunteer registration .
Okay. It's also in the agenda for those of you who have the agenda, but thanks for putting it right there.
And then also if you could share with students the link for the next one coming up is the link to actually register for the event. So it is by appointment. We take about 30 people every 15 minutes or so. And we do want to get it out to the campus first because it is on the Hawaii Food Bank website. So it will fill up with community members as well. And it's through our partnership with Waikiki Community Center that we're able to do this. So we also package food for them and they come and pick that up and distribute it to the kupuna in Waikiki. So we actually will service almost 300, close to 300 people at this event. Any questions?
Lala Shay, is there enough food? Do you need food donations or money or what?
No, we don't need any food donations for this event. It's entirely provided by the Hawaii Food Bank. We never know what we're gonna get. One time we got like just way too much food and another time we had just enough. So yeah, but it is fresh food. So there's fruits and vegetables and things like that, bread typically, and some frozen items. Sometimes we get milk and butter. It just depends what they have that week.
And I would encourage folks that have the time to drop in and help us can. Everything.
Yeah, we have 2 shifts, but we are happy if you can come just even for half an hour. So the form allows you to put a different time than the shifts listed if you can't make it for the entire shift.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Noel, you're on now.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I was a little late here. I wanted to talk to everybody about registration coming up. As similar to what we did in previous semesters, we're going to create a resource folder for instructors to have in case you want to put things up in the class, put some stuff on Laulima, whatnot. But I'm just going to run through some really quick, some of the pictures. Right now, they're still in draft mode, so they might look a little bit different once you guys get it, but the information should still be the same. So basically right now, Registration starts on November 8th. Okay, so this is students with 36 or more credits, or if there are any with registered with any of our special groups, such as TRIO, DSSO, etc., which those students have already been communicated by their counselors that they have early registration. All right, currently, since October 29th, students could put courses in their shopping cart on STAR. It basically is like a pre-order. I mean, if you guys are familiar with Amazon, it's a pre-order. Once the registration site goes live, they can just go in there and click in it. We have been telling students that the course schedule may be changing because we know some of the courses may switch to face-to-face in light of the news from President Lasner. So students are being told that to look out for the class format as they will switch. Our registration will run throughout the whole week. And then after November 11th, November 12th and on, we're looking at students with basically any new students as well as transfer students who will be coming in. So again, you have access to this infographic as well as some of the other things that I'm about to share here. I know a lot of you guys have questions about what kind of requirements are for which classes and so forth. You guys will also get this infographic, which pretty much makes it really clear for students what classes they can take, and depending on if they have a full vaccination, as well as the other health clearances, right? So again, just a reminder, students who are in face-to-face or hybrid classes, they will be expected to be fully vaccinated and have that uploaded to LumaSite, as well as meeting all the other health requirements. Also, under that unvaccinated with an exemption, again, this is religious or medical exemption, and they meet health requirements, they could also be in person or hybrid. In addition to this, I also want to point out that if students are coming to campus, if they are only online, that they still need to check in with LumaSite to kind of make sure that they're following all the protocols. So again, this one just makes it really clear because there's so many different requirements now for students to take classes in person or hybrid. And again, you have access to this one here. We did get some questions about what does it look like when students try to register? And I can run through those too. This one you guys don't really have access to because you guys don't have access to STAR, but your students might be inquiring, so you'll have access to these screens here. So for example, this is what it looks like for a student in STAR when they are trying to register for accounting classes. All right, as you notice, if you can kind of tell on the bottom here that this class is actually a face-to-face class. So you'll notice here to the side, there's a bubble that a student could click on that would allow them to essentially register for the class, right? So again, this student is an example where they are fully vaccinated and they have all of the health requirements in the system. Therefore, these options will be available to them. For a student who might be a little bit confused and they might be asking why I cannot add a class, they might be looking at a screen like this. All right, so if you see now, the difference in this one is unlike before, the student does not have a bubble. You only see the bubble on the bottom for the third option, which is an online class. All right, so if you notice the top ones, they cannot click on that bubble because they did not either upload their COVID vaccination or they never took the COVID vaccination or do not have an approved exemption. So if students cannot click on it or they say, I cannot register for the class, even though they meet prerequisites, most likely it's going to be one of these things here. Okay. So that is what students are seeing on their end when they are trying to register. There has been, I would say, ample messaging going to students about the COVID vaccinations, our testing policy to ensure that they have these uploaded so that they can register for classes. And we'll probably continue to do so with that one there. As you guys are doing this, I'll put it here. If you guys have questions or students have questions about registration or who to talk to, and then I know there's a bunch of resources, sometimes too much to remember, just send them to this email, capcount@hawaii.edu, and they can kind of help with the referrals to the various places on our campus or answer a lot of the questions that are probably coming up for registration. Other than that, registration is pretty much same as always. They go online, register through STAR, and hopefully they click register, and then magically they're in classes. Questions about registration? Do they need to pay? Okay, Dave, these ones, we're not sure yet with the testing students. We haven't gotten an official yes or no, but as soon as I find out or Louise finds out or Brian, we'll let you know. But up to this point, they really haven't said anything. So I think for
Sorry.
those of you, oh, go ahead, Louise.
Yeah, what I understand is that folks who require regular testing are being not sent to, but the suggestion is to go to the places that are providing the testing for free, Hawaii State places. And there was a recent announcement that included a link to those sites that are providing free testing.
And I think in addition to that, especially when spring semester comes around, with the assumption that the college is no longer paying for these tests, and you're working with students and it's becoming a financial burden, I would encourage you to tell the students to apply for the emergency aid funding. And again, because this would be covered since taking a test is COVID related, that students could request funds to then cover their testing requirements. But once we probably learn more about this, I'll let everybody know so that we can kind of refer direct the students in the correct manner.
Noelle, who's monitoring this? Like who keeps up with these records and knows that the students have uploaded them and knows that they've had their tests in a timely manner? I may have asked this before. Sorry.
So I think so. We do have a list of all the students who are registered for in-person classes or hybrid classes. And it gives us a list on who meets the exemptions. Who passes Lumicite, in other words, gets a green light, and who does not. So we have access to that. What I do not know is if these students are attending classes or not. So I have a list, and it's pretty much, it'll be similar to what the instructors have in terms of the instructor support app to make sure it's green. So I can find out who is not meeting the standards. But I do not know who is actually showing up to the class because I have no way to track that one. So it's on the assumption that we have communicated enough to the students that not abiding by these is a violation of the student conduct code, and we have a bunch of those things listed. But in terms of, are we tracking it every day as in who steps foot on campus? No.
So who is the one that if I put my vaccination up in the site, who's verifying it?
Oh, so basically all of that goes through the system. So for example, student uploads their vaccination to Lumicite. That is then directly connected to Banner, which is then connected to the instructor support app for you guys, and also the reports that I pull. Same thing for the medical exemption and religious exemption. Those are being approved at the system level now. And once those are approved, it is then input into Banner, which also communicates with Lumicite and also every single report that we have. So somebody is looking over these things and making sure they are what they are. I don't know how the testing will work though this time around, because when we did it this time around, we sent a list to students and employees of all the sites that they could visit for free testing, and those people who did the test would upload it to Lumicite. But now, because if we don't do that, I don't know how we do that. Brian or Luis, do we know if they're gonna have to manually upload that? That's actually something I haven't heard.
So Candy, so yeah, I can answer that. Let me go back to kind of answering Candy's question though. So basically, Candy, everything is coded. Believe it or not, our chief technology officer or CIO, Garrett Yoshimi, is actually the head of this, and he, along with the InfoSec people, Jody Ito in particular at UHITS, basically coded stuff. And when you upload, it reads whether you are legit or not. And the same thing is going to happen for the spring, where folks might have different types of tests. I know they're working hard on expanding the range of uploaded documents that it can read. But that's essentially how that information gets verified, whether someone is in compliance or not. At that point, like Noel was saying, it feeds into the different databases that we use, such as Banner, which is where all that data is called from. I personally have a pretty high level of confidence in what ITS and what Garrett Yoshimi have done in making sure that folks are in compliance with the testing or with their vaccination policy. But yeah, there should be no difference in the spring, at least so far as last week when we last spoke about this at the system level.
I appreciate these answers. And while I'm here, I'm just going to ask one more. So if we have faculty that have not been vaccinated or they don't have an exemption, even though they're working online only and they're not coming to campus, that still will not be allowed in January. They have to either have an exemption or be vaccinated. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Just to clarify one thing, anyone who uploads a vaccination form, it gets double checked with Department of Health. So, you can't just write any kind of paper and think that it's a vaccination document. So it gets triangulated that way. Okay. No, yeah, I'm sorry, somebody else wanted to say something, Candy?
Louise, I have a quick question for Noel.
Okay.
And Noel, I know you're busy, but is there somebody else I can ask for a list of students, the shopping cart list and what classes they're in the cart for?
Okay, so I think what you're asking for is, I guess for this week, can we pull a list of courses that students have already put into their shopping cart?
Correct.
Yeah, I think, yeah, we can give you access to that report. Sorry, that's a short answer.
Okay, no, I just trying to see if we have enough classes, which classes are full, what it'll look like once registration starts, so we can kind of forecast a little better. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I will send you an email then if you're, I guess if the other deans or department chairs, if that information is useful, to email me, and then I'll put together a tutorial on how to put the report.
Okay. Thank you.
No, yeah, you have some other things?
Yeah, actually, before I jump off, I actually wanted to have Roman come on to talk a little bit about, I guess, the success of the Halloween event that was last week, because I was really impressed by what the students put together in terms of times of COVID, really well put together, but also the email she sent out about the escape room to kind of encourage people to attend and check it out, since the students spent so much time on it. But it's actually a nice, I guess, activity either to do as a group if you guys are here on campus, but something really different during this times. To remind us that we can get back to normal, some kind of normal eventually. But Roman, you want to jump on?
Hi, everyone. Yes, as Noelle said, the students did such a good job. So the Office of Student Activities and the Board of Student Activities put together a Halloween event, and they did a good job having activities, making sure everything was still spaced out, but safe and fun. And one of the things they did was an escape room. So a lot of you may have gotten that email. It's a SpongeBob themed escape room. And even if you don't know SpongeBob, it's still okay. And I think it'll still be a lot of fun. So free to join. The link or the information is in the Chancellor's update document, and I'll put the link here as well. We do need people to RSVP just so we have time in between to sanitize and know who's coming in. It will take no more than 20 minutes, as you will only have 15 minutes to complete the escape room if you can figure it out. And you'll get a little goodie bag at the end of it and take as many pictures and things. So just have fun with it. We are doing it tomorrow, Thursday, November 4th, and then Friday from November 5th. Time frame is that 11 a.m. to that 2 p.m. And it'll be in the Iliahi 123 building, the same building as Subway. So hopefully y'all can join. I'm gonna see if I could add a picture so you all can kind of see a little bit of what it looks like in the chat. So thank you all.
Thanks, Roman. No, Al, you got a whole bunch of other stuff too you wanted to talk about.
Sorry, I did. I stepped away from the computer. Could you gently remind me of some other stuff?
Okay, HiNet, emergency aid and graduation.
Ooh, wow, that was a long list. HiNet.
Yes, I think you were going to introduce Justin.
Okay. Sorry. This sick kid is distracting me right now. I'm totally distracted. Yes, if I can introduce really quickly, we do have a new HiNet coordinator on campus, Justin Toombs. If I can have you introduce yourself real quick. And just a little mention about the HiNet program.
Yeah, my name is Justin Toombs, and I'm excited to be working here with HiNet. I've gotten to work with UH community colleges on several other projects during the last years. So now I'm really excited to be here with Kapiolani CC and working in this capacity. So a little bit about HiNet. I can give you a little preview now during this meeting. And then I wanted to invite people, if you would like to know more about HiNet, you can of course check out our HiNet website, hinethawaii.org, that I just put in the chat window. And then next week on Wednesday, the 10th at 1 p.m., we're gonna have a quick HiNet Kapiolani CC faculty and staff info session. And so I will include the Zoom link here and make sure to forward that on to other people if they want to get a more thorough understanding of HiNet and some details there.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. Outreach is important, and HiNet is a real benefit to lots of students. So interested faculty and staff who work with students, please do take part in that info session. Back to Noel. Noel, connected to HiNet, emergency aid for students.
Okay, yes. So emergency aid, again, that is CARES/HERF/ARPA money /money we got from the government that we're supposed to give directly to students. Again, just a reminder, the emergency aid application is open. Can I get somebody to put that into the chat, please, a link to the chat? We're continuing to approve students for the funds that they need. A couple of changes will be coming up, and you guys will get another email about this. So I want to thank the committee that has been working so hard to basically review these applications. Over 800, maybe nearing 1,000 sometimes. So Lori Maihara, Flo Barra, and Terry Mitchell for volunteering or maybe voluntolding to be on this committee and reviewing a bunch of those applications. Starting in November, we will actually have a third party do it, a software program that will be reviewing the applications of our students based on the HOPE survey results. If you guys remember, the HOPE survey was done last spring. It was given to our students and basically talked about how people were affected by COVID. Anyway, long story short, they have an algorithm based on the HOPE survey that will then automatically be able to decide if the students are eligible for these funds, which would mean that the committee no longer has to review it and students would get a much faster response in terms of if they qualified for the funding and when the funding would then be dispersed. So we are working on it right now. In fact, I'm supposed to fill out this paperwork for it, and hopefully we can get it by November. The reason for that is because the holiday season is coming around, and at that time, a lot of our students are strapped for money, and we want to make sure that this option is available to them. The other thing I'll share is once January starts up again, these students can apply for the emergency aid because it's for fall and spring semester. as well as summer if we're still at that point and we still have money by then. But again, encourage students, if they already applied, tell them, don't worry, you can always apply in the spring semester. That is a really short story for emergency aid. The other thing that I needed to talk about, just a quick mention is, I know Justin talked about HiNet, we're talking about emergency aid, Lavashay talked about the food pantry and all those things going on. I believe Maria have sent out, or the faculty know about, there is a syllabus statement on basic needs that you will have the option of putting this in your syllabus if you choose to in the spring semester. There is another committee that is working diligently to then create a resource folder with all the different types of basic needs that it mentions, having students participate to try to bring awareness to things such as basic needs like food insecurity, mental health, such as those, and also connect that to the various resources we already have on campus, such as the HiNet, food pantry, mental health. So hopefully in December or January, we'll get that together. I will share that with you all so that if you do include that basic needs syllabus statement, that you guys are equipped with a bunch of resources to share with your students, as well as be well informed that we have a bunch of the resources on our campus. Because I think the last thing we want to do is you guys put out a statement, students say they need help, and we don't really have anything to offer. So as that kind of folds along, I will keep the campus updated about that. And that is that one. And the last thing is
Graduation.
Okay. I'll chat on the side to say what exactly about graduation. Can you give me a small reminder?
It says, apply for 2021 graduation by the last day of instruction for fall 2021.
I'm so sorry. Today is like the worst possible day. Yes. Thank you, Jerry. Again, a reminder to apply for graduation is to do December 9th. The reason this is important is because students need to apply for graduation so that we can do the graduation check and ensure that everything is in place to then award their diploma. The last thing we want is students are not aware of this and they end up just assuming it's going to happen and they don't get a diploma, which will likely be a late award and they'll probably get it for spring. So please, as you are working with students, if they are graduating, please remind them that the deadline to apply for graduation is December 9th. And thank you, Jerry, for putting all that links in there. And again, this is for fall 2021 graduation. That was a lot of stuff there.
It is a lot of stuff.
I apologize. You guys heard my voice all day. Good thing you didn't have to see my face all day here.
That's okay. Anyone have questions on anything that Noelle shared? Okay, I don't want to forget Annie's question. So if you want to know it, you got to scroll all the way back. Then there were questions about boosters. I'm not aware of any need to upload booster information. Fully vaccinated is what the policy refers to, and that means 2 shots of Pfizer, Moderna, and 1 shot of Johnson & Johnson. So boosters, so far, no need, as far as I know. Annie had a question about compliance employees. She asked, will supervisors be notified of employees who receive the vaccine exemption? And if so, will supervisors continue to check weekly COVID tests? This is employees, not students. And I know Darsh can help with that. Darsh?
Yes. So to answer Annie's question, supervisors will be notified of any exemption that has been approved. We won't be sharing any details with regards to whether it was medical or non-medical or religious exemption, but there would be an email notification copying the employee sent to the supervisors. Regarding the process of checking COVID tests, we'll continue to do what we are doing as of now, but if there are any changes, then the system office would send out email notification to all the supervisors as well as employees. As of now, I do remember that yesterday or early this week, all the employees who either needs to submit an exemption request or needs to submit the information regarding COVID vaccine, they have received their email. And the deadline to submit the exemption requests is December 6th. It's a Friday, so December 6th, 2021. And once we receive all the exemption requests, we'll evaluate and review. It is centralized at the system level, so all the campuses are reviewed on the same criteria, same basis for the entire 10 campuses. And once we have a decision, we will email the supervisor as well as the employee. Thank you.
Okay. Dave's question about DCs as supervisor. DCs don't supervise the faculty, but you do have APTs or clerical support folks. Yes, you have supervision. Okay, that's a good one. Just a really couple of quick things. Noelle mentioned a review of students' requests for medical or religious exemption. And so the review of the requests will be done by a system-wide committee, which will have representatives from every campus. This is UHCC system, representatives from every campus as well as across different function areas, so that bunches of different people, registrars, VCSAs, bunch of different people are represented in this committee, and they will review all of the requests for exemptions from testing or vaccination. I'm sorry, they don't get exempted from testing. Jerry, you you got me the last time. I caught myself this time. So the exemption is from vaccination, and requests for exemptions by students will be reviewed by a system-wide committee. So we faculty don't need to be involved in that process either. Okay.
One thing about that, Louise, real quick.
Yes.
I know I'll regret saying this, but if students have inquiries about it or where it's at in the process, have them email me, as we got to answer all of those. So if they are worried because registration is coming up, they haven't heard back, send me an email, then I can bring it up to the system committee. Only for students though, the students exemptions.
Yeah. Okay, other questions about the exemption process at all? Okay.
Louise,
Yes.
can you clarify really fast what, so Dave's question was, as a DC, am I a supervisor? And that relates to vaccinations, because I got on the side a text saying, oh, so should I just report to you from now on? Person just came in. So just to kind of clarify that for
Yes.
people who are jumping in.
Yes, that was to check vaccination status.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. You probably saw an updated freeze memo from President Lassner. There really are only two very minor changes to the freeze. One is that recruitments funded by RTRF are no longer subject to President's approval. RTRF, it means revolving and training funds. They are the result of indirect costs on grants, and the funds are to be used to support grant activities. So it's a very limited possible use for personnel. And we are funding some folks, at least in the shared services, our grants office. So RTRF is allowed now. And then the other change is that requests to travel out of state no longer need to go to the president. They can be approved by the vice president. So not major changes, but changes. Maybe there's a slight thaw, no icebergs flowing out right yet. Lynn, you wanted to say something about Giving Tuesday.
Hello, thank you. Hi, everybody. I wanted to share again about an upcoming Giving Tuesday that is going to be on November 30th. And this is a time where it's a 24-hour period where we will be soliciting for donations to our college. So we will be sending mass emails to our donors. And Lisa Yamamoto and I are working on a Giving Tuesday campaign so that we can share it through social media. We'll have our own webpage and we'll be sharing it here in the KCC Bulletin. So we've had some deep discussions with our ELT, and they really feel that the food pantry, our Okaina food pantry, is still an important one for all of you. And I can see Carol nodding her head. You look really pretty, Carol. But I know that she, back way when there was like a faculty group who were, donating food for Tuesday and Thursday lunches. And anyway, our food pantry is going to be the main focus. There is a chance for you to give to a different fund if that's what really resonates with you as well. But that full-blown page will showcase videos and photos and testimonials and infographics on our food pantry. So in addition to what our donors give us, it was a very strong point last year for our faculty and staff. So I ask you again to please help donate to help our students in the community with food. The food pantry, they are trying to raise some money for some new refrigerators. And Brian, before you get worried, we're gonna make sure that they're all kind of in the guidelines that we need to have them. So let's shoot for at least, I see your smiles, at least 2 refrigerators and a freezer, and we're thinking about 5,000. I think that we will hit it because I know I will be a donor too. And to keep that food source going, because not only do we get help from our food bank, every Thursday, Auntie Coco and our Luna Little Scholars run a food pantry pickup. So they go to Iliahi and they sign up, and then they go to Iliahi and they pick up food. I know that Kathy Werman and Shannon Sakawi, they make food runs to Costco and other wholesale places to make sure that that food area is stocked. And so if we were to able upgrade our food pantry here on campus, we might be able to accept food from the KCC's farmer market, foods that they can't sell, that we can refrigerate until it can be given. We can have other types of partnerships with, say, Aloha Harvest or other perishables that we can keep here for our Tuesday pickups. And fruits and vegetables might just last longer. So please be on the lookout for more information on Giving Tuesday. I hope at the next meeting on the 17th here that Lisa and I will be able to share what that page looks like and let us feel some pride around it, because we came in second to UH Manoa last year. I was so proud of us. Our faculty and staff, you all really stepped up. And so please think about that one day to make an online donation, and it has to be online, hence the hashtag Giving Tuesday, just to draw together and do something great. We blew past our goal, the UH Foundation, as a total last year. We were shooting for $25,000 for our first ever Giving Tuesday. And I think we were close to 50,000. So that is how wonderful our university system is. People are giving regardless of where they are in life, employed, unemployed, ready to give. So let's try our best. I'm hoping for a loyalty campaign where it's not the amount that you give, but it's the action. So our smallest amount is $10. You can spare $10. That's you giving up your lunch to give somebody else lunch. If you can spare a little more, we're grateful to have it. And if Lavashay, you wanted to say anything else, and Auntie Coco and our committee, okay. So we look forward to giving you more information on Giving Tuesday. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Another thing to put on our calendars. And speaking of the food bank and food distribution, for the event that's coming up, if staff wish to help and volunteer, I would endorse that, but please check with your supervisor to get the okay to leave your station for a little while and help out Lavashay folks in the parking lot. I think it's a worthy cause, and giving makes a difference, and giving of time sometimes is the best way to support. So this is just put in the registration for volunteers. So if you want to volunteer, check with your supervisor, make sure it's okay, and then spend an hour, 2 hours, whatever you can spare, working with Lavache folks. Okay, Carol, you wanted to share.
Yes, I'll make an announcement about a couple of things, but since you mentioned RTRF, Chancellor Pagotto, I did want to say that, you know, over the past week or so, a team of us from hospitality, continuing ed, Chancellor Richards, and the wonderful grants office have been working to put a proposal together for a Hawaii Tourism Authority community enrichment grant. And I wanted to thank Stan Fickman, especially, and Brandon for, you know, the tremendous professional help that they have been giving to support, you know, the work that we're doing. I think we're actually going to make the deadline to get a grant proposal in. With that said, we'll keep our fingers crossed. And I want to announce that there are 2 upcoming Kaia'ulu webinars. One is this Thursday, which is Mary Star of the Sea. And that's Thursday, the 4th of this month at 5:30 p.m. The Mary Star of the Sea is also celebrating their 75th anniversary. And, you know, they have been going strong, providing wonderful educational opportunities for students K through 12, giving them a very strong foundation in education. And then on the 18th of the month, this one will be very interesting as well. It's the Kaimuki Business Professional Association, which actually started the Christmas parade in Kaimuki 75 years ago. And they're also responsible for that Christmas tree that you see that's been lit up most of the time, except for maybe a year or 2 above the fire station. But there's some very beautiful photographs, old photographs that you'll see of old Kaimuki, and you won't believe what it used to look like in this area. And they'll give us a history of that moving forward to the current time. So please join us on the Kaia'ulu webinar series. I'll give you the link for that in the chat box. And I hope you can make it. It's going to be great. And that will kind of wrap up our features of our community partners. And I'm hoping that I'll have a good surprise for you for what we'll feature in the month of December. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Carol, is Mary Star of the Sea the same as Star of the Sea?
Oh, I don't know, not the tuna.
No.
Okay.
But Star of the Sea, I don't know if they call themselves that, you know, from time to time, but Mary Star of the Sea is the school that you see, you know, when you're driving in, no, I don't know what street it's on. You know, when you come off the ramp off the freeway.
Yeah.
Same one.
Yeah.
Carol, can you put the Kaia'ulu link in the chat for everyone? You sent it to me.
Oh, I sent it to you. Okay, I will.
Okay. And
Yeah.
Michelle has a question. Lavache, do you need help packing bags and boxes?
Sorry, my mouse is not working. Are you talking about prior to our Tuesday or for the event next week? If it's for the
Michelle?
oh, I'm sorry.
The volunteer one, she says.
Yes, so we have various jobs that people can do. We have checking in, we have directing traffic, we have packaging items, we have putting items in cars. So it's whatever your comfort level is as far as interacting with other people. But yeah, we have lots to do.
Thanks, Lavishay. Now, speaking of interacting with other people, there's a question that was put in from someone on the campus asking about what are the specific guidelines for hybrid or in-person classrooms in spring 2022? There needs to be consistency to limit confusion and potential conflict. Couldn't agree more. So what is absolutely clear is that we will continue to wear masks indoors. We are going to be setting up classrooms such that they accommodate 3-foot distancing. And that's for sure. So other than that, what questions do you have? About classrooms, I should be more specific. Anything?
Yeah, hi, Louise.
Hi, Dave.
So, okay, we have classes, all of our departments have classes that are very specific to a certain, classroom. We have equipment, computers, software, those kind of things. If we have to, for instance, if we have to be in a certain classroom that generally holds 28 computer stations, but then we're looking at 3 feet, there may be a few seats in there that are closer than 3 feet. Just pick a number. Let's say out of a class of 28, there might be 4 seats that really shouldn't be where they are, and the configuration of the room doesn't make it easily possible to completely stretch everything out. So I know we keep talking about full enrollment, but that sounds like it does limit enrollment, or it should limit enrollment. Because it's I know that Maria has indicated we can find other classrooms, but in some cases, I guess if we can't move this class to another classroom, it has to be in that classroom.
Right. Now, go ahead. I think Maria and others did a scan of the classrooms. I think Maria helped me here to see what 3 feet would look like. I don't know if you got down to the host ones.
No, we did not. But, like normally in our classrooms, 3 feet is more or less the normal, even before COVID, because you don't put the chairs like adjacent to each other. So I think with the normal spacing that we used pre-COVID, we are at 3 feet. I went through several of the classrooms, but I did not get to the host one.
Yeah, because back when this all first came out, we were at 6 feet. So, I did a map with that, went in and put blue tape all over the place. And,
Yes.
I love my blue tape, so sorry. And then there was a discussion about 3 feet. So I went back in and I did a whole bunch of maps for 3 feet. I had that somewhere and I don't know what that number worked out to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I would.
It wouldn't have been 28 out of, a class of 28 would not have been 28. There would have been, some seats that should be left vacant.
I would ask that you really try to maintain the max enrollment for your classes. And I know that in host in particular, your enrollments are typically very strong. So not having your max would limit your students' progress, I think. But I understand. So maybe have a conversation with your dean and Maria about how you'll make adjustments to see what is possible. And if you simply cannot rearrange the stations, then what is the impact on your courses and the class offerings that you have and your students in particular? Yes, Lisa.
Hi, thanks for calling on me. So yeah, just to let Dave and others know, we have been doing face-to-face classes for quite a while now up here in nursing due to the nature of our curriculum. And so we have that extra screening process that we put our students through, which is similar to what they would go through if they walked into the hospital setting. So it's just having that, so we have done the temperature checks, the hand sanitizer, give them a new mask every time they come, and have them sign in. So we're tracking multiple things at the same time, right? Lumicite, all of that. So I know that seems like a lot of work, but it does literally help for any kind of breakthrough infection or contact tracing kind of thing. So in the labs, they cannot be, more than 6 feet when they're working with each other in pairs on scales. And so that's the second level of protection we're putting, because we couldn't maintain that 3 or 6 foot distance in our courses. So thank you for bringing this topic up. I'm sure that it is, we want to have consistency, but obviously I think you got to do what's best for your department. And I hear your concern about enrollment, because we don't want to close, 5 seats because we have to maintain the 3 feet. I just look at what is going on in the state and the governor opening up. I mean, if you can, go and have dinner and Thanksgiving and, have concerts, we should be able to have people side by side in computers on campus. So that may be what the spring will look like, more back to normal. But yeah, thank you for letting me comment just on what we're doing up here. Extra precautions, but the students are used to it. They come with their Lumicite app. They come prepared. If you don't have new masks for them, obviously they can use their own, I think, but it is nice to be able to hand them a brand new mask. And I think there's still a lot of PPE around. If you run out, maybe we can help you out. Thanks.
Okay, other comments? There were some things in the campus announcements. Christy Yoshikawa, do you want to say something about Counselor Hotline?
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Christy. The Counselor and Academic Advising Council, CAAC. And I just wanted to let everyone know that we're still here. Maybe this, but the council virtually, either on the phone. Some people see them in ours.
Oh, Christy, you're breaking up all over the place.
That oh, I'm gonna turn off my video. Is that okay? Okay. No, not better.
Better.
Can you hear me now? Okay, apologize. So again, we have our counselor hotline going on. Sheldon and Alfie, I don't know if you know this, Alfie, but Sheldon has volunteered you to represent us on this counselor hotline. So the counselor hotline is dedicated for staff and faculty to send students who maybe are lost or need some help identifying who their counselor is and getting some academic advising or some student services. So I've created this flyer, put it in the agenda notes that is shared for the this counselor updates. You can reach us by email, text, phone, or even a walk-in. If you have students that are just strolling to your classroom or strolling to the library and need some assistance, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then Fridays 10 to 12. You can send them straight down to KISC or Ilima 102, have a knock on the door, and we'll assist them there. And what Alfie or what this hotline would do is hopefully we'll filter the students' needs, identify who or what they're actually looking for, and then they'll get referred to the correct service. So again, please, oh, sorry, don't knock, Sheldon. Oh, okay, ring the bell, sorry. Thank you, Chef. But yeah, so again, we're still around, we're still here to help. So if you do run into any students that need assistance, please, send them our way. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Christy. This is the link to our agenda, and in the agenda, there's a link to the counselor hotline that Christy was just talking about. There's also a bunch of information that Roman told us early on about Escape Under the Sea and the costume contest. So if you are interested in the links to all of those events, please just check this particular link that I just put in there. So with 5 minutes left to go on a Wednesday in November, what would you like to share? Anyone?
I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention something else to everybody about our counselor webpage. So if those of you who know the counselor that you want to refer the student to, but need to find our information, again, Sheldon, bless your heart, he's worked so hard on updating our counselor webpage. So if you go to our website under student services, under counseling, all of our links and updates are all live on there, designated by programs. So please, again, you can also identify or find us through the webpage. Oh yeah, and Sheldon, thank you. Put it in the chat. And that's it for me. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. With 4 minutes to go.
I can do this in,
Other suggestions?
do this in, name that tune.
I can
name that tune in 30 seconds. Sorry, going back to the hiring freeze for just a second. So just so that I'm clear, there is a process though of requesting the through you. Okay, and it goes through you, goes to Erica, and it goes to David Lassner. So it's
and there's a specific form that one needs to fill out explaining exactly why we need such a position at this time.
yes, I did the old one, and then the next day I was told there's a new one.
Yes.
So I hope there's not a new one since Tuesday.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Still the same one? Okay, good.
Still the same one, yes. Yes.
All right, my copy and pasting skills got much better. Thank you.
Yeah, fortunately, it's pretty much the same information. It's just a different bunch of signatures.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Okay, looks like we're done. I hope you have a great rest of the next week and another week until we see each other again on the 17th. In the meantime, please do take care of yourself. It's really important to make sure you do the things that bring you joy, find places where you have some quiet time to yourself, and don't be looking at a screen for too many hours. You know that on your Google Calendar, you can now track how many hours you spend. It's depressing. So meetings are eating up everybody's time. So you really do need to make an effort to look after yourselves. It's really, really important.
And for that reason, the Chancellor is canceling all meetings for the rest of the semester. Thank you, Louise.
Oh no, that'll make life pretty difficult. Okay, well, I'm not going to any meetings. I don't know about you. Anyway, I'll see you guys. Take care of yourselves, please. It's really important. Unmute yourself, say goodbye. Bye.
Happy daylight saving.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Happy Easter.
Thank you. Thank you.